Hello, everyone. On May 29th, in a 2-to-1 decision of a 3-judge panel, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit affirmed a lower court decision that a Washington state law prohibits a female-only spa from excluding men, specifically men who have penises. One judge published a dissenting opinion. WDI USA, which had filed a friend of the court brief before the Ninth Circuit, was not surprised by this decision. In a statement published on the 30th, we explained the lead up to the decision, why this outcome is unsurprising, and what might be next. As we enter Pride Month, WDI USA's Lesbian Caucus has published an excellent piece that asks, Pride, what went wrong and can we fix it? Quoting from the Post, lesbians need a women's liberation movement and lesbian pride. After all, Stonewall Rebellion was started by a lesbian. Stonewall is lesbians to commemorate. We are not gay men. We are not a subset of gay men. We are not bisexual, and we are not queer. There is an ongoing patriarchal push to subsume lesbians into some other group, and we think it's time for lesbians to separate, cultivate our lesbian communities, grow the number of lesbians, and push back. Our June 1st volunteer networking meeting focused on in-person meetups and things we can do to create more actionable events in our respective areas. Interestingly enough, a few Midwest state contacts from Minnesota, Illinois, and Wisconsin did just that over the weekend. Elizabeth hosted the gathering at her home in Minnesota, which in addition to Brianna and I, included Thistle Pedersen of WLRN, as well as a few other women who need to remain anonymous. Primarily intended as a means of getting to know one another better, we also participated in a group craft project, painting feminist messages on river rocks, drawing inspiration from turf rocks on X and California women's rights activists who recently painted Bernal Rock, a living public forum constantly repainted with art, political messages, and messages relevant to the Bay Area. Some of the women also stayed on to protest in collaboration with XY Athletics. The inclusion of male athlete Charlie Marissa Rothenberger, who is currently dominating the state women's softball championships in Mankato, Minnesota. In a deeply troubling move for anyone concerned with the erosion of free expression, especially for women and girls, the U.S. Supreme Court has declined to hear LM versus Town of Middleborough, a case that directly challenged the public school authorities to silence students who affirm material reality. In this instance, that there are only two sexes. The denial leaves in place a First Circuit ruling that upheld the school's censorship of a 7th grade boy who wore a t-shirt reading, "There are only two genders." Administrators removed him from class, claiming the message might upset other students. When he returned the next day with a modified version reading, "There are censored genders," he was again silenced. The implications of this case go far beyond one middle school. At its core, LM versus Middleborough is about whether government institutions, including schools, can compel, silence, or enforce ideological conformity, even when the beliefs at issue contradict objective reality and infringe on the rights of women and girls. Although the court declined to hear the case, Justices Alito and Thomas issued a clear and urgent dissent. Alito warned that the school's actions were textbook viewpoint discrimination, allowing speech that affirmed gender ideology while suppressing dissenting views rooted in biology and common sense. This analysis quotes directly from a piece on Wolf's website written by the org's legal director, Lauren Bohm. In advance of the California State Track and Field Championships scheduled to take place over the weekend, President Trump threatened to cut federal funding if California authorities allowed male athlete A.B. Hernandez to compete against female athletes at the event. Instead of complying with Trump's executive order and ensuring fair play, the California Interscholastic Federation instead threw the girls a bone by changing its rules of competition to allow more girls to qualify and ultimately to share spots on the award podium. As HeCheated.org details in an X thread, the New York Times couldn't resist yet another opportunity to paint a male athlete cheating in girls' sports as a hero and a victim. As expected, AB dominated the events he participated in, sharing first place in both the high jump and triple jump, as well as second place in the long jump. The CIF's last-minute scramble to try to rescue federal funding still put the boy first, dismissing entirely the fact that females exist as our own category of humans and deserve fairness in sport. Sadly, AB wasn't alone. Male athletes in Washington, Oregon, and Maine also won medals in girls' state track and field championship events over the weekend. And finally, last week, Jennifer Say announced that her company, XXXY Athletics, is suing the state of Colorado because House Bill 25-1312 demands that we all further the lie that sex is not binary and that men can be women if they just say they are. As Kara writes in her Free Female Speech Friday, I always want to say the other acronym, excuse me. The bill, signed into law by Governor Polis earlier this month, amended the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act to define gender expression to include chosen name and how an individual chooses to be addressed. According to the complaint, the act then declares that Coloradans have a right to access public accommodations and advertising free of discrimination on that basis. This expresses the legislature's intent that it be illegal for public accommodations like XXXY Athletics in their advertising, customer interactions, and elsewhere to refer to transgenderifying individuals with their given names or with biologically accurate language. XXXY Athletics can no longer speak the truth in pursuit of its mission and can no longer call men men. The lawsuit alleges violations of the First and 14th Amendments. We wish Jennifer all the best. That's all I have today. Thank you.